And now, with no other introduction, please, Lisa, welcome to the stage. Please, let's welcome. Oh, yeah.
The only one with a microphone? Test?
I mean...
Or without? Without is fine too, right?
Yeah.
Gives me more...
Yeah, that's good.
More hands. Yeah, so nice that you're here. I know it's early, so thank you for being here. If I'm walking a little bit shaky, it's because we decided to do the Wahlberg yesterday, which is apparently on the website 1.5 hours of a hike. It turned out 3 hours of a hike. But we did it because halfway we were just like, nope. We're dying, but we're not quitting. So yeah, my name is Lisa. I'm a financial advisor and I'm a sociologist, and I'm also the founder of Liliettes, which is a financial literacy project. Before I start, of course, I want to thank Paola and the whole team of Creative Mornings and Stephanie for coaching me through it. She can't be here today, but she did an amazing job behind the scenes. And we're going to talk about money critically because I'm a sociologist and I work with money the whole time, so we do both. I want to start with this. So this is the famous Greek saga. It's called the Fall of Icarus. Who of you knows the saga yet? Okay, perfect, great. Would you give us like a really quick summary, like 3 sentences, no pressure, what it is about?
So, if I remember correctly, the idea was that they had the wings.
Yeah.
They shouldn't fly too close to the sun, because if they wanted to go too much high, then the sun would melt the wax or some things, and they couldn't fly.
They couldn't fly and they would fall.
Exactly, they would fall. And I guess it was Icarus who actually wanted to take
He was like...
and go too high, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, that's what we see here. So exactly, thank you so much. So in short, it's about Icarus and Daedalus. Icarus is the young fellow drastically falling here, and Daedalus is the parents. And they were, it's a lot of history, I'm not going to repeat the whole saga, but they were trapped on an island and they wanted to escape, right? And the father is a great mechanism, and he constructed the wings made of wax. And of course, he warned his son. As a father, you will warn your son, like, be careful, you know. And of course, Icarus, being a young fellow, he was like, yeah, I know it better. And because it's a Greek saga, he died, you know. So, yeah. But that is his saga. So, and that is actually where our idiom comes from, where they ask you, do not fly too close to the sun. I think you probably hear this more often than be careful of your wings with wax. But what I want to talk about today is, did you actually know that there is a crucial part missing? Because the message we have here is telling you, don't aim too high, be careful, right? Don't fly there, it's like really, it's not worth it. And also like the consequence is pretty harsh because you're gonna die. The original story, actually, the father wants his son also not to fly too low, because the gift of the sea may dampen your feathers and then you will fall as well. So the message of this whole tale originally means, don't aim too high, don't be overconfident, but also just don't fly through life like around the bottom, you know, because that is not good too. So the original story was about finding the right balance in your life between being too much and not much enough. And because being a sociologist, I'm not leaving you with one example, right? So we do another one. A jack of all trades is a master of none. So this is what we all kept with us as well. So what is the message here? The message here again means, like, especially for us, like in this generation, don't do too many things, focus on this one thing, go to university, decide on your major, stick with it, do your concentration, you know, in there and specifications. Again, did you know it's not the whole saying? The whole saying is this: a jack of all trades is a master of none, but still better than a master of one. Again, meaning also in your professional pursuits, do some things. Don't do it all, but don't just do one. So what are we seeing here? Why do I start with stuff like this? Because it's something that two famous sociologists, one of my favorite ones too, Berger and Luckmann, tell us is our reality that we perceive is actually socially constructed. So it's not like this world out there we get born into, it's objectively there, it's always like it was, it will always be like it is, but it has an element of construction. And how is it constructed? And that's what I wanted to show you with these two narratives. It's constructed through language. Language and narratives play a crucial part of the construction, how we perceive our everyday life, and then in the end, our mindset, how we act. So this guy, I don't know if you can see him, another famous sociologist is Roland Barthes. And he looked at narratives, but specific narratives. And the ones we saw, they carry a certain goal, they carry a certain connotation when they were changed. And that's called a myth. A myth is a story that has been changed. And Roland Barthes, as a sociologist, he was like, yeah, I'm going to look at French everyday life and going to sit down and note every advertisement, every note there is, and see what happens with myths. And what he found is actually that we're surrounded by these stories that change our perception in life. We are surrounded by it, and even he wrote a whole book about it called Mythologies. What did he found? So what is a myth? A myth is either an original story, and then someone comes in between who's like, oh, no, not keeping that. And then it is translated into a myth. And what's interesting, the original meaning is changed into a meaning that can be used for something. So one thing. Or the second thing is you just invent a narrative yourself and you just place it like it has always been there. I think today we would talk a little bit about fake news here. So you either have myth or fake news in this part. But what is the problem with myth? So myth actually takes a story and it doesn't hide it. It just tweaks it and changes it into something different with a different meaning. And as any good sociologist, Roland Barthes asked one critical question, like the most important: who benefits from this, right? And he did some research and looked into it, and other sociologists did this as well. And we won, which Tatiana will appreciate, we found one thing. It's the same kind of group that uses this. And funnily, it's the same kind of very small group of people, and they're very similar. They are all Western, mostly European, middle-aged, white men. So Tatiana, for example, if you want to see another great talk, would refer to it as the Thomas. Nothing against poor Thomas, like using this name now. So I'm going to change it to the Trumps. So I think we can relate to it better. But yeah, it's very interesting. So these people, are kind of like, whether it's the story they use being the monarchs by birth, whether it's the priest by gods, then we have the businessman, right? And then we have Trump in the end. It's like the people always stayed the same. They just changed the reasoning behind it. And so what makes this interesting and also shocking is that they always stayed the same. And what is problematic about it is kind of their aim, because they are already often in charge of a lot of money. They have a lot of power, and they don't want to share it. And so they try to keep this order as natural as possible, and that's where myths come in. So, why all this before? It's because we're going to talk about money myths today, so myths related to money that shape your everyday life with your relationship with money. And I think it's very important because even though as a sociologist it's hard to admit, but money is kind of running our lives, and it's very important. And what I just wanted to show you, money is like the power tool, and it also gives you access to more power structures, and then to also take charge of your life. And right now, as you have seen, it's mostly in the same kind of hands, which we, I think, can all agree would be nice if it was a little bit more diversified. So, money myth is something that you probably already encountered in your everyday life, something that shaped unconsciously the way you deal with money. And I want to start with a rather old money myth, this idea that money is evil. So who used it? Like where did we get this from, right? It's something that has been preached by the church like some time back, And in their like typical preachings to their flock, they're like, you know, money is evil, money ruins the character, and it's like it's not good in normal people's hand. So give it to us, you know? So it's like, it's good, we're good with God, you're good. And finally, you can't even imagine this today, you were able to pay off your sins. Like, this is a price tag on your sins. Okay, great. And if you had a lot of money, it's like, yeah, we have another menu if you want to go to heaven. This is like right now, like get 2 for 1. Yeah, so this is what the church did. The money myth then carried on, even though the church lost its power with, you know, research, enlightenment, sociologists, that like something we're proud of a little bit. But it was still used. So during the Industrial Revolution. So this idea of money is evil, money ruins the character, that changes the morals, you know, was used in Industrial Revolution. Why? Because education until then was for the rich. But they had a problem. They needed workers now who could get along with machines. So the first schools for the poor and middle class started, and they had to educate them. But as a ruling class, you didn't want them to be too educated. So again, school was split between learning how to like manage the machine, and then also money is evil, money is, you know, ruining the character, so it's not for normal people, so give it to us. Again, so this is how people stayed in charge. And where does it come from? And they always say it comes from the Bible, right? So the money is the root of all evil, it's in the Bible, we have always seen this. Yeah, close. Actually, already the Bible says the following: the love of money is the root of all evil. So those people that love the money, the Trumps, are actually the problem. But of course, it's like hard to carry on that, so they change it. But like if everyone ever comes to you and say it's already in the Bible, you say like, no, money is actually in the Bible, is fine. It's just don't become too greedy. Like use it as a tool, that's it. Another example, because women are bad with money. We all know this, right? And I'm a researcher, and my focus is on gendered economics. So sorry, I can't spare you. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Yeah.
That's new to me.
Wait for it. So how are we as women portrayed in media? You know, it's like the typical, like women dealing with money. We just can't. You know, we get this emotional thing, we get a lot of money, we just like, spend it. I saw the shoe, so you're gonna spend it on the shoe. You know, so like even Carrie from Sex and the City, she's like this awesome writer, she's badass, you know, but money is just not a thing. So she needs like the big mister there who helps her. Or more drastically, we have to freeze our credit cards. That's the best strategy ever, because then we won't use it, right? Is this true? Yeah, good question. We have the comparison here, how are men portrayed. So as a woman, you have to stand next to this genius. You look up, you have been working in this company forever, but he comes in. It's like, yeah, I've solved it. Did you look at them? I know I solved it. And the thing is here, this is just a stereotype, but men are portrayed like this, typically, right? And then it's also hard for men, because you don't only just get to be good at money, you need a side job. You know, you need to be badass at something else. So you have to kill, headhunting, of course be the good guy doing numbers like during the day and killing during the night. Yeah, look at the research. So the research shows actually your money skills are not related to your gender at all. Research just shows that we are stereotyped by media education into it. So we already had some good, I'm so happy that I didn't do, they had to do the research, but linguists looked at 300 financial news in magazines. And they found a significant difference. Women were portrayed as being like emotional, irrational, you have to take it away from them, you have to put it in a savings account, you know. And then it was also, what they also found was that it was very much connected to like infantile messages, like small girls, piggy banks, you know, and then also about the financial markets, they are too complicated. Don't even start. It's so complex, you have so much other work to do. And of course, we as women, we don't work. We have other work to do, meaning taking care of kids. You know, that's like the other hard thing there. What about men? So you're not better off either, because you have to be risk-taking. You can't just manage it well. You have to be the risk-taker in the family. And 1 second. Yeah. And what we see here is that it's often related to those imageries of combat. You're combating the financial market. You're like beating the financial market, right? So don't manage it, beat it. And this is not the only thing. It's not only media. It's also education. So research found that already parents talk differently to girls than to boys about money. With girls, it's all about stay safe, do saving. That's why girls are very good at saving accounts. If you go to Sparkasse, the majority is women. So, but men are encouraged to take risk. You can take it over again, it's no problem. So this is already what it is. And the other thing is, being a financial advisor, and I'm really sorry to say this, financial advisor sucks at financial advice for women. Because you come to them, and the majority is just not taking you seriously. And they had studies that found the same financial advisors is very, very much giving you worse advice when you're female. And the same with the same background, you get a worse loan at a bank. So what does this show us? The myth is women are bad with money, a narrative that has been created. Fact is, women do not even get to be good at money. You're like educated into not being good at it. You don't even get a chance. And for the women in the room, I want to show you it's possible. Her name is Aisha Ogoshi. She's a badass financial person. She is a managing director at JP Morgan Asia. She outperforms the market, which is incredible. And she's under the number top 5 since 10 years of managing directors. So if you ever think like, I can't do it, well, she can. And you don't have to be as good as her, because then, well, if you are, you want to change industry. But yeah, you can do this. Okay. And then the last money myth I want to talk to you about today is, I'm taking it away from someone who needs or deserves it more, right? And we all know this in corporate. You're prepping for you did a good job for 1 year, like your yearly thing is coming up that you get to talk to your boss, and you're just like, yeah, I did it, I have more responsibilities, so, and then you talk about it, at the end you're just like, salary increase, maybe? And then typical answers we probably all of us heard is, we don't have the budget. Yeah, if you come, everyone is coming. Or saying we're tight, and then I have to take it away from person X. This is the one thing. Or the second, the news. You're taking it away from someone who needs it more. There are a lot of poor people out there, so why are you so greedy? They're worse than you are. Stop complaining. Well, let's look at it. Are you the problem? Are you really the problem? No, you're not. So this is a current study from 2020 from the DSW and TUM around the corner, showing that the executive managing directors of the DAX concerns make 3.4 million yearly, which is 48 times of your salary in a year. And so this shows, and we are talking 2020, right? We talk Corona. Before it was 52 to 56 times of the typical employee in a company. So ask yourself, so if I ask for a raise, can't we just cut and it's enough if we cut from this person here and like this point? It's so it's not you. Your salary is fine. Your company is not getting bankrupt because of you. It's bankrupt about them, probably. And then the other part is 1% of the richest people in the world now own 43% of the wealth. So, yeah, you're not taking it away from the poor. You're not making, sorry to say this, you're not making a difference here. Just to put it in perspective, 8 millionaires, male millionaires, make more than 50% of the poorest people in the world. 3.6 billion people have less than 8 billionaires in the world. And relation to women, 22 rich men have more money than all women in Africa. So, myth. Saying me that I should shut up, I think. Sorry. Okay, got it. Okay, yeah, the myth is I'm taking it away from someone who needs and deserves it more. No. Actually, money is in good hands with you. And again, if you ever struggle here, look at Marie Curie, the famous female scientist. And if you ever want to read a good book, read like her biography by her daughter, Eve Curie, because Eve Curie at the end talks about one struggle they had. They decided not to put a patent on the radium discovery because they wanted it to be freely available for everyone. They could have done it differently, but they had this idea where scientists were doing this for the common good. This was one of her biggest regrets until the end of her life, because other people made a huge lot of money, and they struggled until the end to get one free radium institute in France. So she says in the end, even though I thought it's not in good hands, she said, in the end, this was our biggest mistake. We could have made such a big difference. Supporting new scholars, supporting pupils at school, having hospitals raised, all this. And so if you ever think it's not in good hands, Marie wants you to have it and decide where you want to give it, because otherwise she had to figure out it's decided for you. So finally, being reminded to shut up, what can we do about it? And we heard reality is socially constructed, right? So it's bad to figure out this, like the first semester of sociology, you're like really in depression after learning all that. But then you learn the second semester, you learn like, we can do something about it. So today I want to do this one thing, and the sociologists are really bad at it as well. Like we're good in theory, like taking action is like, yeah, someone else. So I want to do this with you. I want to rewrite 2 money myths with you, because I think it's good if you go home just having heard it, but I think you also need to understand that you can change actually. So one thing we want to do is, a myth is money is evil, right? What can we do instead? If you ever think this, what could you say instead?
Money is awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Money is awesome, right? It's great. You can buy like a frozen latte. It's like, who cares, right? Something else?
Giving me freedom.
Giving you freedom, right? Yeah, for you and for others, right? Because creates opportunities. What else?
It's a good friend of mine.
It's a good friend of you, yeah. Because it's like, money is like not judging. It's just like, it's like similar to chocolate, like it's just there for you. Allows experiences. Okay, yeah. What else? Okay. It's a tool. There we go. That was my end sentence. So yeah, after all, money is just a freaking tool, because you can use it, and it ruins your character when you have a bad character. It's evil if you are evil. If you're good, you can do more good, right? Okay, let's do one more for your next salary negotiation. Next one is, I do not deserve to be paid XX. What can you say instead? when someone asks you, when you're asking for a raise? Why should you get a raise?
Because I bring a lot of experience.
You worked for it, right? Like, you worked for it. You bring experience. Like, it's money. Is it really about like paying your work, or is it paying for your experience, right? You've been 1 year with a company, like, and they tell you actually you don't deserve to be paid this amount. What else?
My knowledge.
Your knowledge.
Dedication. Time. Passion. Yeah.
Passion, right? And dedication. Exactly. Value. So, and I think very good, I think it's about value. Money shows what you're valued at, right? It's not, well, you only work 8 hours a day like everyone else, you know? It's more about, what did you do in those 8 hours? What did you bring? Did you bring new clients? Did you like have a new idea? Did you bring the company forward? So, where did I leave my clicker? Can I do it like this as well? Yeah, perfect. So yeah, we did those. So what I want to end, and Paola asked me to have a takeaway. If you ever struggle with anything we talked about today, I want you, and feel free to take a screenshot, I want you to use those mentors. If you go into a salary negotiation, use this. If you go to a bank, use this. And it's something, honestly, I as a financial advisor use myself, so I prep myself up as well. And we found this out together, right? Money is not evil. It's just a tool. That's it. Money management is not, it's a new skill. Give yourself time. You know, you don't expect yourself to be like using a bicycle like directly, right? Give yourself time. You're gonna fall, you're gonna suck, you're gonna look ridiculous with it, but it's worse in the long run, because as with a bicycle, it brings you places. Money can make a difference, and you can make a difference with it. It's good in your hands. And finally, money is compensation for more than just your time. You deserve to be paid what you're worth. So this is what I want to end on. And yeah, I want to thank you. Thank you for the possibility to be here. And yeah, thank you for taking part, because it's always the hardest part to get people to participate. And yeah, if you want to follow me and learn more about research, you follow @Liliette's. If you want to know where's my next talk or what am I doing like in my free time, like use my webpage. And if you ever feel like not confident about money, feel free to reach out, because we can work on this. Yeah, thanks.